Okay, you guys, we're now going to work a similar problem, exercise 518, or similar to exercise 517. We're looking at a long-term contract again, and we're going to look at revenue recognition over time. That would be using the percentage of completion method versus recognizing all the revenue when the project is completed. And again, to determine whether a project meets the guidelines for recognizing revenue over time, you'd want to refer to the blue chart on page 235. But here we're going to look at it again both ways. On June 15th, 2016, Sanderson Construction, and this is exercise 518, page 285. On June 15th, 2016, Sanderson Construction entered into a long-term construction contract to build a baseball stadium in Washington, D.C. for $220 million. The expected completion date is April 1st, 2018, just in time for the 2018 baseball season. Costs incurred and estimated cost to complete at year-end for the life of the contract are as follows. And all these numbers are in millions, but we're just going to use them in hundreds. Okay, and they give us the cost incurred each year and the estimated cost to complete the project at the end of each of those years. Of course, it's zero at the end of 2018 because the project would be completed that year. All right, number one. How much revenue and gross profit will Sanderson report in its 2016, 17, and 18 income statements related to this contract, assuming Sanderson recognizes revenue over time according to percentage of completion? So if we use the percentage of completion method, how much revenue will we recognize each year and how much gross profit will we recognize each year? So again, we'll fill out our chart. 2016, the contract price each year is $220 million. We're just going to keep it in hundreds, keep it a little more manageable. Okay, actual cost to date, let's do 2016. Cost incurred during the year, $40 million, of course. Estimated cost to complete at the end of 2016, $120 million. Total estimated cost would just be those two added together. Okay, so at the end of 2016, our total estimated cost for the job are $160 million, or 160 we'll go with. Okay, and let me change this. Should say estimated gross profit actual in 2018 because that year will be finished. Okay, so our estimated gross profit in 2016 would be equal to our contract price, $220, minus our estimated total cost of $160, or $60 million. I'll put the change on there because sometime we're going to come out with some where it's not an even 60 million, might be 60 point something, so I left the change there to account for that. Now we'll calculate our percentage complete for 2016, so it's going to be equal to actual cost to date divided by estimated total cost, and that's 25%. Okay, revenue to be recognized, assuming percentage of completion method is used for revenue recognition. It is here on requirement 1. So what we're going to do is take our contract price, our $220 million, times our percentage complete. So revenue recognized is $55 million in 2016. Okay, on our gross profit to be recognized, assuming the percentage of completion method is used, we could calculate this one two different ways. We could take our revenue recognized that year minus cost incurred that year, which gives us $15 million. Or we could say our estimated gross profit times our percentage complete. So let's do it both ways and make sure we get the same answer. So first we could say equal to revenue recognized minus cost incurred to date. And we get 15 million. Or we could say our estimated gross profit times our percentage complete, and we get 15 million. So either way, we come out with a 15 million. That's a nice check there. Okay, so now let's go to 2017 actual cost to date. Well, cost incurred in 2017 were 80. We have to add to that the 40 from last year. So we get 120 million cost incurred to date for 2017. Our estimated cost to complete at the end of 2017 are 60 million. So estimated total cost would be the sum of those two, 120 million cost incurred so far, plus our estimate of cost to complete the project, gives us 180 million. So estimated total cost, notice that's gone up from 160. So now our estimated gross profit for 2017 for the entire project would be equal to 220 million minus our estimated total cost. So now our estimated gross profit is only 40 million, down from 60. Now we'll calculate our percentage complete, or the same way we did before. We'll take actual cost to date divided by estimated total cost, and we get 66.67. So revenue to be recognized, assuming percentage of completion method is used for revenue recognition. Well, we're 66.67% complete, but we recognized 25% complete last year. So what we need to do here is say our contract price times 66.67% minus the percentage that we recognized last year, 25%. And we come out with 91.67 million actually revenue to be recognized in 2017. Now I hope you see how I did that. What I did, we can't just say 66% times the 220. That would be revenue to be recognized for the first 2 years. So what I did, I said 220 minus or times 66.67 minus the 25%. Or you could do it another way. You could say 220 million times 66.67% minus the revenue that we earned last year. Let's try that and see if we get the revenue we recognized last year. Let's try that and see if we get the same thing. So you could say it's equal to 220 times our new percentage minus what was recognized last year as revenue, which was B12. Why don't you just type that in? And you still get the 91.67. Two different ways to skin the cat, as they say. Why you would want to skin a cat, I'm not sure. I hope you don't, actually. Alright, anyway. So there's a couple ways you can go about that. You take percentage complete times the contract price and subtract the revenue we recognized last year. Or you can take percentage complete this year minus percentage complete last year and then multiply that times the contract price. Either way works. Okay, gross profit to be recognized, assuming percentage of completion method is used for revenue recognition. Okay, so what we'll want to do here, now we can do this one two ways as well. We could say the 9167 revenue to be recognized this year minus cost incurred just this year in 2017, which were 80. That's from your problem in the textbook. And that gives us 11.67 million as gross profit to be recognized this year. Another way you could have done that is you could have said our percentage complete for this year times this year's gross profit minus the gross profit we earned last year of $15, and that's B13. Either way you get 1167. I hope it's not confusing me showing you both ways. You can pick either way and go with it. I just like to show you. If you get the same answer both ways, you should feel pretty good about it. Okay, now let's go to 2018. Actual cost to date. Well, we'll take cost incurred during the year for 2016, 17, and 18 and add all three together. So we get 120 plus 50 is 170. Or take the number from last year plus cost incurred in 2018. Either way, you get 170. Estimated cost to complete now are 0. So total estimated cost will just be these two added together, or 170. It's actually less than we suspected or thought. Okay, our estimated gross profit, this is our actual gross profit on the project in the final year, equal to our contract price minus our estimated total cost, 170 million, gets us 50 million. So in the final year, it's a little bit different. Our revenue to be recognized, assuming percentage of completion methods used for revenue recognition, it would be our total contract price minus the revenue recognized in the previous years. So 73.33 million. Okay, and then to get the gross profit recognized in the final year will be equal to our revenue recognized that year minus our cost incurred that year, which were only 50 million, and that gets us $23.33, or actually 23.33 million. Sorry, I keep saying that incorrectly. Alright, let's go to requirement 2. Yes, there. How much revenue and gross profit will Sanderson report in its 2016, 17, and 18 income statements related to this contract, assuming this project does not qualify for revenue recognition over time? Just meaning they can't use the percentage of completion method. Well, we would have recognized 0 revenue and 0 gross profit in 2016 and 2017. Then in 2018, our revenue to be recognized would be the contract price, $220. And our gross profit would be equal to the $220 minus estimated total cost, which is an actual number. In 2018. And we get gross profit 50 million. Now you can check yourself here. This 220 revenue recognized in the final year if we're not recognizing revenue over time, should be equal to revenue recognized over the 3 years under percentage of completion. So if we sum those, you get 220. If you sum these, you should get 50 million. There you go. Same as here and here. So you're recognizing the same amount of revenue and gross profit over the 3 years. It's just under the percentage of completion method, you're recognizing a portion of it each year that we work on the project. If you're using what was once called the completed contract method, you don't recognize any revenue or gross profit until the contract's complete. So all the revenue would be recognized. Revenue and gross profit would be recognized in the final year. Okay, number 3. Suppose the estimated cost to complete at the end of 2017 are 80 million instead of 60 million. Determine the amount of revenue and gross profit or loss to be recognized in 2017, assuming Sanders recognizes revenue over time according to percentage of completion. So, okay, I'm going to do this in the 2017 column. Revenue to be recognized assuming percentage of completion method is used for revenue recognition, and estimated cost to complete at the end of 2017 are 80 million rather than 60 million. Okay, how much revenue would we recognize? Well, we'd already recognized some in 2016. So what I would do here is I would say okay, they're saying at the end of 2017 estimated cost to complete are 80 million rather than 60. Okay, if we go back up here, actual cost to date through 2017 are 120 million. Estimated cost to complete, we now want that to be 80 rather than 60. So our total estimated cost to complete would be 200 million rather than the 180. Our actual cost to date in 2017 are 120, so I'm going to say 120 divided by our total estimated cost. So it's now gone up to 200 from 180 because remember they raised this number, estimated cost to complete, from 60 to 80, which would bring this one up to 200. So 120 actual cost to date divided by the 200 million. Okay, and that gets us our percentage complete times our revenue, 220. I'm going to put that in brackets. Okay, so that would get us the amount of revenue we should have recognized in 2016 and 2017. But we need to subtract out revenue recognized in 2016, which was the 55. So that gets us to, so let's look again what we did here. We took cost to date, actual cost to date in 2017 were 120, divided by total estimated cost, which are 200 rather than 180 because they raised this 60 up to 80. So we took the 120 from here, divided by 200,000 rather than 180 because they increased their cost estimate by 20 million. We multiplied that by the contract price of 220, and that gets us revenue to be recognized in 2016 and 2017. But we've already recognized some of the revenue in 2016 to 55, so it has to be subtracted out. So that gets us to 77 million revenue to be recognized in 2017 if our estimated cost to complete at the end of the year were 80 million rather than 60 million. Now, if that estimate of cost to complete at the end of 2017 is 80 million rather than 60 million, how much gross profit would we recognize in 2017? Okay. Well, it's going to be our revenue recognized that year, which is 77. Minus our cost incurred that year, which was 80. So it's going to be equal to 77 minus cost actually incurred in 2017 from that top row of the chart in your book, 80. So we end up with a negative 3 million in gross profit in 2017 if our estimate to complete is 80 million rather than 60. And of course that's gross loss rather than gross profit. Okay, you guys. I think after working this one with me, you should be okay with exercise 518 on page 2 or on the Connect website. If you have any questions, please be in touch. Thanks.